and we're always changing. And if you have people in your life that treat you like they treated you last year and address you as if they really know everything about you, that's not a person that you necessarily want to invite on a spiritual journey, because they would create a spiritual drag where you'll feel a pull, you're moving forward, and you wonder why you feel a resistance in the realm of the spirit. And a lot of times it may not be satanic resistance, it might be human resistance. Why? Because the human spirit is more powerful than a demonic force, more powerful. There's no demonic force that has authority in the earth realm, only human beings. And you are more powerful than you can ever imagine. And sometimes when we are believing that we're fighting demonic forces, it may be the human spirit, someone who doesn't want you to change, someone who is jealous of you, someone who wants to manipulate you, someone who recognizes your giftedness and your talents and your relevance and your influence, and they're hoping that you don't see it. And there's all kinds of resistance. And if a person resists you long enough and you don't change, it turns into resentment. And this is why in relationships, people secretly harbor resentment, not knowing that it started with resistance. You've got to give God permission to move in your life and move in other people's life and move people out of your life. And the movement might just be for a season. Sometimes you've got to move on. And moving on doesn't mean that you disconnect in terms of a relationship. It doesn't mean that you have to divorce. It means that you have to give that person over to God and be obedient to what God is speaking to you, and do it anyhow. Be it anyhow. Go anyhow. Obedience is a lonely place. And your path, when you mature, becomes straight and narrow. With everything that is in you, protect your personal relationship with God and tell everybody around you, I love you, but this part of my life is off limits to you. You don't get to weigh in. And this is how I live my life. Nobody gets to weigh in on what God is speaking to me. He doesn't have to speak through you in order to speak to me when I have a personal relationship and I talk to him and he talks to me all day long. And we spend more time listening to people than listening to the Holy Spirit and listening to God. We spend more time on other people's timeline at the expense of God's timeline for us, and we miss divine timetables. But this is the last season that would happen to you. And you're going to be obedient to what the Father is speaking in your spirit. And you would never come to a place where you're over familiar with the gifts that God places in your life. Whether it's a gift of friendship or a gift of a spouse or a gift of a mentor or a pastor or a coach. You will never ever allow the enemy to seduce you into a place of overfamiliarity where all you see is the person, the natural person. You don't see the spiritual part of that person, and you don't celebrate and you don't contribute to their growth and development and success and prosperity, even if it means I'm praying for you, even if it means I'm giving you an encouraging word, even if it means you hold them accountable for their action. Let me tell you something. If a person allows you to sabotage your life and they stand by, for fear you may misunderstand their challenge of you, they do not love you.